And while there's a part of me that understands sometimes, like, oh, hey, there's a lot of this stuff that's backed up. You guys have to finish this. Um, I feel like a lot of times they create their own problems by not staffing properly. So what'll end up happening is a lot of them will kind of what's a good way of putting it? They'll go through the motions of like, oh, here's this one person, you're gonna do this for the night. And then as that person starts to do the thing that they want, of course, because in a several hours long shift, or even longer than that sometimes, a person will need a break or will be required to take breaks as provided by the law. The simple solution to this is you'll have other people who come and fill the void for that person. I'm not kidding. When I did my part last night, they did not have anyone to do my stuff when I was like indispensed. Like when they tell you to go do something else, they don't have someone take it over. And when I took my break, I came back and saw everything look exactly the same as when I left, which was like 30 minutes. So like basically a whole hour was allowed to just kind of go by of people not contributing to that at all, which drove me nuts. I get all these text messages. Funny thing to me is I always ask like, "Who is this?" Because I really don't recognize these people. It's like a random set of numbers that just appears out of the blue, and they won't even respond. They just say, "Hi, who is this? Hi." That's when I said stuff starts getting weird. Oh, like at least if you're gonna try to, I don't know, make contact with somebody, do them the courtesy of identifying yourself. There was a that happened a while back too, where there was some number that had some woman on there, and I was like, so how old are you? And they wouldn't answer me, or they kind of like kept dodging the question, so I just blocked it. Mm. It's a really basic question that they should be able to answer, especially if they want me to talk to them. Really not hard to figure out what. I mean, it's just like it doesn't make any sense. Why would I want to talk to somebody I don't know how old they are? Just weirdos, man. I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, I surprisingly got off like around when I would, if we were all done. Because I was expecting them to just bury me in more of that stuff and have me there for another like 30 minutes. We didn't have that much of it left when I was dismissed, but I still was worried they were going to be like, you took too long, so you should stay extra long. I was like, okay, whatever. Mm. I was really worried because that's just how these people are. They're very vindictive, even when you're not doing anything wrong. And I do have half a mind to like take a picture of how much stuff it is and just show it on the stream because it's a lot. And it is doable by one person in like a span of 5 or 6 hours, but you have to have other people there to like take the load off that person once in a while, like have other people that show up and help with, cleaning stuff because it's just too much when no one like what's the word? Not saying adds to it, but kind of, oh, this person went on break. Okay, you'll substitute for him while he's away for the half hour. They don't do that. They just let it sit there, which is really stupid. Yeah, I'm just tired of all these employers and their fantasies and just how unrealistic they are in terms of, hey, look at all this stuff that you expect one person to do. Maybe we should have somebody else do this with them. Nah, it really drives me nuts. Oh. but they don't care. Man, I tell you, I have so many days where because I work later in the day. I get up around like 12 o'clock. I think, oh great, I have about 4 hours before I have to go to the job, and then it'll be like you run this errand and you run that errand, then you get back and it's like, wow, I only have an hour now. Time flies, especially when you're on a time crunch. I didn't even get to call this one person yesterday because every time I thought of calling them, I kept going, wait, I don't have enough time. It's too little time. I'll call them later. And it's got put off and put off and put off and put off. And I felt pretty bad because I told him I'd call him and I just kept forgetting and putting it off. Oh man, I tell you. Just remember we're doing a New Year's stream because that's the first. So we'll or that's Monday. So I guess I'll look forward to that. I don't know. I just find this to be a pretty difficult period, you know. Like on the one hand, I'm glad about having some gainful employment for the first time in 11 months, but the other part of me is just sort of what's the way of putting it? I'm just weighing the pros and cons because on the worst days the cons really start coming out. And the issue is that since I've gone such a long period without working, it always feels as if when I complain about something, I have it's not me looking to quit. Like I would have to really just feel like there's nothing good happening here. This is not manageable. This is insane to like adopt that view. But it's hard to have like a person primarily around you that's not sympathetic and still want to work there and like you know, want to stick to it. They don't even care how much work you have to do either. Like they will pull you off that stuff and not even think about it. And it drives me nuts because they're not the ones who are gonna have to sit here until 1 or 2 in the morning trying to clean all this stuff when because they kept getting delayed by all these other tasks. You're too slow. No, you're not. Whatever. They need to put other people in there as well, so that when something happens to one person, it doesn't all just come to a grinding halt. It's so dumb. Part that drives me nuts. It's like you guys have all of these employees, and you can't get one person to replace this other one when they get dispensed to go do something else. Like there's not one person that you have in your whole arsenal of employees that can take over this position for half an hour or however long the other person is going. Not one person. But this is a good business. It's a sweatshop more like it. Yeah, I have this key that keeps falling off. The little thing that's connected on. And I'm worried that one day I'm gonna just I don't know, like open the thing up and notice it's not there anymore. Ah, damn it. How'd that even happen? I got caught on there. It's so easy to lose stuff. It's not even funny. Like, so many times you'll have things and you'll like mistake something for not being somewhere, or you'll like turn around and the thing that was in your pocket fell out and you see it on the floor. Or I mean, I went to the bathroom yesterday and I was just kind of like feeling around for a second. I said, wait a second, I don't feel my keys. Where'd they go? But I put them in my usually I try to put in my breast pocket. I put them in my other pocket. So I like they for a moment they I thought I'd lost them, but they were still there. I just had to feel around for them. Oh man, it's so irritating. Telling you, I don't know. It's just all this job stuff and drive here and drive there. You do get kind of worn out of it after a while. Like the tiredness just sets in because I have to go back up there tomorrow. One of the worst parts actually is that people are really unorganized when it comes to like arranging things. So they'll set up something, and then when nobody shows up, they're like totally surprised and shocked, and I can't believe it. And wow, it's but it, they really do it to themselves. I'm trying to remember how far ahead of me, like in terms of time, would someone in Texas be? Is it 2 hours or 3 hours? I forget. 2 hours. Well, in Austin, anyway. Yeah, I just hope when people make appointments, they don't even tell you like the time of the appointment. They just say, "Oh yeah, it'll be today eventually. Just stay up and be available all day." It's crazy how many jobs really want people to work on the weekend. Like sometimes I have to remind myself, I really go for like the last month or so. I've just been not having a Sunday. I just go to that job, and they don't just have you for like 2 hours. They have you up there for a whole full shift. Let me see here. If I have to go in there and look, I don't feel like doing that all today. People do get pretty goofy when it comes to this stuff. They do kind of just sit around expecting everyone. Like that's always the problem with a lot of these different online influencers and whatnot. They just think everyone is available like when they want. Because I always try to say, okay, I'm gonna show up on Saturday and Monday, right? Some of these people they'll be like, "Well, I'm not feeling bad today, so let's go and do this thing." You're like, "Whoa, wait a second! I had stuff I was doing, so I can't go." I mean, we didn't even need to talk about that $3,000 trip that person was trying to get people to go on. And like I said, I'll be very interested to see how many people actually sign up for that because that whole comment section, except for like one person, was saying this is too much or have fun without me, or things that hint that pretty much confirmed they weren't going there. So I'll be very curious to see how that goes. I'll sit there wondering and scratch my head. Oh, I wonder how many people are going to show up. So me and one of my coworkers yesterday had a pretty interesting conversation about things after I drove him back to his place, or I guess around his place. He didn't want to have anyone go directly to his house, but we were talking about women for a little bit. It was a wide ranging conversation, but we discussed some of this chick stuff, and I was telling him about how the internet has just basically destroyed modern women, and it's turned a lot of them into these really egotistical characters who in any past era would have no reason to think so highly of themselves, but because they have all these like random guys who, we already explained before, because the men themselves don't receive any attention from chicks, they go on the internet and then a bunch of guys talk to some woman that they're never going to meet, and the woman's never going to meet them, but she still will speak to them for, you know weeks or months, as if she's going to, fly out and see this person, oftentimes to the detriment of seeing men that she actually could do things with in real life that live much closer by. Uh, but yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking about how men have no standards, which is something I will continue to repeat, because it's like you have all these chicks, and we mentioned two in particular, because I talked about this too, how we at that job there's like two morbidly obese women, and how like very 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 large, right? And how in spite of being very very big, uh one of them has a boyfriend and the other one is married, and like I couldn't help but feel as though this was all part of some elaborate prank, like, oh yes man, you need to work on yourself and self improvement. Oh, but this woman that it looks like she's about to kill over from a heart attack, oh, it's all right. Triangles always make everything, fine. They can be whatever they like, ever they want, ever they like. It doesn't matter. So yeah, he and I had a conversation about that, because we both thought it was nuts. Oh man, yeah, my foot was itching for a little bit. What's so weird is that yesterday I was getting in line to get something to eat at the place, and I don't know what it was, but like I started to feel very very weak. Like as I was standing there, it was like I had I don't want to call it a hot flash or something, but I just what's a good way of putting it? It's hard to describe it. It's like I was feeling lightheaded. Like as I stood there, I just started to kind of wobble a bit, and I placed my hand against the counter to kind of balance myself. It was weird. And right after reaching the line, I ordered my thing and I went into the bathroom. And after using it, I felt better, or slightly better. But I don't normally feel like that. I don't know what that was. I just know I started to really kick myself. I said, "Oh man, I'm out here with complete strangers and I'm feeling this way. Oh god." I mean, I knew I could go and probably sit in my car, but I don't know. I don't like feeling that bad when I'm in public, because you never know. Like, we know that nobody gives a hoot. So if something happens to you, it's just, oh well. At least that happened here. I could sort of manage it. I really don't know what that was, but It did kind of scare me a bit. My thing has always been, I believe that a lot of these places are just not clean, and probably you either are inhaling something, or you know whatever other things might be going on. You're just kind of getting the full extent of it, or paying the price for it. God, I don't even know if I want to talk about my relationship with water. I don't even like saying it that way, but just it's very complicated. You get so much of it, but you drink so little. By virtue of the greed of other people, but whatever. But yeah, like I was saying, it's really hard to know what exactly that was. It just caused me to start feeling so lightheaded, or to feel kind of. I guess the way I describe it is like imagine yourself standing somewhere, and as you're standing there, all of a sudden you kind of start feeling like shaky to a certain degree, and you've got something you can lean against, right? So it's not as bad. But you're like, what? Why do I feel this way? What's happening? Like you almost start to panic that, maybe you're coming down with some other type of sickness. But you stay in the line. Then when you get in the line's front, you order your thing. You feel kind of out of breath to an extent. It was scary. I hope I don't have that feeling again. I don't know what it was, but I hope that doesn't strike me once more. I don't think I've ever felt that way before. No, because I mean, that's not me not being able to speak. I can still communicate, I can still talk. I'm saying that as I was in the line, I started to feel kind of weak and sweat a bit, and I didn't know what was going on, so I just kind of tried to manage it until I got into the bathroom. No, I don't think it's what McConnell had. I don't think it was a seizure or whatever he had. I think he had a seizure. I don't know what it was, but whatever that was, were the only thing they had in common was probably no, I don't want to say greetings to you, Jim. You tried to misdiagnose me. You're not a very good doctor. That's why you couldn't make it in Obama's America, because when the ACA passed, you were right there talking about, oh, I don't think this will cover people, and they covered more people. So you your whole shebang was exposed. Every time you try to diagnose somebody, it ends in futileness. Oh, man, I'm telling you, all these documentary scripts, they really just come at you. Like I've got FDR Part One. I'm not gonna pledge it's gonna come out in the next few days because I've only written most of the script for it. I don't have I haven't recorded anything, but you'll probably get that before LBJ Part Five. Doctors have made a ton from Obamacare. Well, they made a ton from the for-profit, healthcare industry in general. I mean, attaching health insurance to jobs has always been the stupidest thing for the people, because if your job fires you, then you have no insurance. You'll just sit there and hope that you stay with that job forever. No, it's awful. He said looking forward to it. No, I used which books were those? I have one of them right here. FDR by Gene Edward Smith. It's supposed to be one of the better biographies. It gets nothing but rave reviews. Then they turn around and give tax credits to the employees for giving insurance. I already tell you, it's all designed to like put more money in the in the insurance company's pockets while cheating you out of something that really should be a right. Like I'm so jealous of people that live in Canada. Billions to Ukraine. We suffer. I thought Ukraine was one of your favorite countries. That's actually kind of funny that you have all these like conflicts that cost billions of dollars, and then oh, somebody needs to go to school and that costs a few thousands. Oh, we don't have it. Huh? Well, look, I know you don't like Ukraine as much as Israel, but both of your countries are going to win this year. Dude, I was just thinking about how in the House, the like main Democrat, the one that replaced Pelosi, Jeffries, that guy is obsessed with Israel, man. Like I told you before, like some of these politicians treat these foreign countries, they care, they're more aligned with foreign countries' governments than with their own country. Well, he's been getting fooled for a while. And like what disturbs me is when they had the race to get rid of McCarthy as speaker, right? He kept coming in second place. And I'm like, all the Democrats want this guy. Every last one of them wants this guy that despises single payer, called himself a pragmatic progressive. That's who we're supposed to like. I really hate the idea of like I'm just giving you like a hypothetical of like let's say I'm able to win that house seat. Could you imagine having to vote for someone as speaker or for speaker that is going to thumb the nose at everything you want to do? God, he's got the cash. I guess so. It just drives me nuts that that's the person that you're expected to support if you're a Democrat in the House. Like honestly, at least with Pelosi, she had the fundraising thing, and she was I'm not gonna say she was some master legislator because that's just a lie. The media tells you she only ever passed like one major bill, but at least with her, you kind of got the sense of this is history, first woman speaker. Um, with Jeffries, it's just whatever. Like that guy is. I don't know what's wrong with these people. They're handpicked. That's all I can say. They're not picked by voters. They're handpicked by members of their own party. She was great. Oh yeah, the Pelosi's a 100 millionaire. I explained before the only reason she became speaker is because she's better at fundraising than like, which is not hard, but she's better at when I say hard, I'm saying in comparison with the people she's competing with. Um, she's better at fundraising than like 90 something percent of the House Democrats. So she would give them money for their races, and they were like, "Oh, you're such a great leader. Let's have you as speaker." But when it came to just being like a good speak, like an actual eloquent speaker, horrible. And you remember how she sounds. It was bad. Her dentures. It's crazy because if you actually go back on C-SPAN and watch videos of her from when she first joined the house, she actually like talks like a normal human being, and then I don't know. It's like over the last 10 years, we started getting the one that can barely speak. So God, this lady just that's the leader. Oh no, they'll never vote her out. She lives in a safe blue district. You're more likely to see I was gonna say you're more likely to see Lauren Boebert get voted out, but she's smart. She's gonna switch districts to a more red district, so she won't have to worry about getting, because she almost lost her reelection or her bid for a second term by like 500 points. So she doesn't want to take that risk again. They take her out on the stretcher then. I don't know if she's gonna end up like Feinstein, where they just stay there for the rest of their life, but she's going to be there for as far as my predictions go, probably another few years, 2 terms, 3 terms. Mm. No, I voted against Feinstein twice in her last election in the primary. I voted against her. There was this one lady that TYT was propping up. I thought she was nice, Hartson, or Hartman, however you say her name. Yeah, I think it was Hartson. And then for the general, where she was against Kevin, uh, not McCarthy, this other guy, I voted for him. So I didn't. I tried to get rid of Feinstein twice, and people, she almost lost, or at least did worse than she's ever done before. But they still kept her. So how did we get here? You want me to delve into this big history lesson about I don't even know where you would start. I mean, we've always had the for-profit healthcare system. Like, that's been around since we began. But I guess if you're talking about some other stuff, you've had the overinflation of the cost of college. That's another problem. Uh Lawmakers that accept bribes and do things for the people that give them money instead of their constituency, and a constituency that really doesn't seem too bothered by this, as far as they don't a lot of them probably just don't know. But the problem is when you try to like sit people down, explain stuff to them, they start acting confused and like you're talking another language. Ugh. Oh yeah, by the way, Jem, what I want you to do me a favor. Give me a PO box, not you don't have to give me your actual address or anything, but give me a PO box so I can mail you some merchandise for one of your heroes. So just let me know when I can send you this, because I know you're really excited to walk around with her name on your head. So just let me know where maybe you have a PO box or some other way I can send you. So we can get you your heroes your hero's name on your cap. That's your next president. Oh, we have a country to save. A taller version of Hillary. Honestly, if it was not excuse me, if it was Haley versus Hillary, I would vote for Haley. I probably wouldn't vote for anybody, but if I was forced to, like I have no choice but the I you don't understand the animosity I had toward Clinton. I thought she was evil incarnate, man. Like, oh, I'm not saying that like one is greater than the other. I'm just explaining that the dislike for Clinton was out of this world. She was as bad as it gets. That's why you will never see her on the ballot again. 2016 was the end. You have you never been to North Carolina? North Carolina. I mean, I told you I've only been to 3 states. Of course, I'm seeking to change that, but I'm not voting for either of them. I mean, you say that, but you got your Haley hat. It's on the way. You're gonna be riding around with it, and always been the craziest thing about the 92 election cycle. It's like you have this third party candidate. He gets, to his credit, several millions of votes, but yet he doesn't pick up a single state. No, Nikki was governor of South Carolina. South Carolina is Ben Tillman and Strom and um, of later dates, Haley and Lindsey Graham. North Carolina is Sam Irvin, Jesse Helms. What's that guy that got busted for being with some woman during the campaign? John Edwards. Like that's North Carolina. No, South and North Carolina are two different states politically. Like North Carolina is way more blue than South is. Look, man, I would know the difference between North and South. I explained before. A lot of my family lives in South Carolina, so it's not hard for me to be like, okay, this one is that, this one is this. Who's the North Carolina senator now? Tom Tillis and some other guy. I'm forgetting his name. On South Carolina, they're represented by two bachelors, Senator Graham and Senator Scott. Dude, Graham is going to be on that Senate seat for I don't even want to imagine. Like, remember how McConnell's had 7 terms? I think Graham is going to have at least 3 or 4 more. He'll be there for a very long time. Lindsay and Scott. Well, you know that if I really do end up making all of the LBJ documentary and the FDR one, and then if we throw in Carter as well, if I do some senators, it probably would be Ted Kennedy and Strom, because those are the two like I have the, I guess, most affinity for. Like, you could make the argument that Ted Kennedy is one of the most important politicians of the 20th century, unironically. Uh, and Strom really did turn South Carolina red. Like, after he endorsed Goldwater in '64, the Republicans have won that state in every single election except for '76 against Carter. So he's not as important as Ted Kennedy, but he has several feats, if you could call it that. Vote him out, please. Go away with this old man. Oh no, Scott isn't old. And trust me, people did try to get rid of Graham last time he ran with Jamie Harrison. That's the DNC chair. They tried to get rid of him, just didn't have enough votes. Dude, Graham had the same thing as Ernst. That's the lady from Iowa. People thought she was gonna get defeated, right? But you look at, and same thing with Collins. They were like, oh, these two Republicans are out there in states that aren't really that red. But sure enough, they both won re-election by larger than expected margins. All these competitive races, they're not competitive. Dude, the Ted Kennedy documentary is going to be so like wild. Like, I think part 1 would probably be everything after, like, pretty much everything before Chappaquiddick, and then like part 2 would be, I guess, probably the immediate aftermath of that. It'll be hard to format it. I just have to like think about it. Jamie was a fool. They asked her a single question. They asked him a single question and he failed. Can't trust him. I remember they asked Ernst the price of corn and she was like, I'm telling you, all these politicians, man, they just keep springing up and popping up and showing up. Like, get out of here. Oh man, but I do feel really bad for Jem. It's like every time you think you're gonna have some nice people to vote for, they turn on you. Because like I knew this cycle, and Jem, you don't have to lie. I knew you were really looking forward to Haley's campaign because she was this person that you've always believed in, you've always thought highly of. So to see her like waffle when it comes to Ukraine and just completely go all full throttle for Israel, it disappointed you. And now the problem is, um, we don't know in 4 years who your next candidate is going to be. I mean, I guess you could try to run Tulsi, because Tulsi's been having this right wing pivot, but who knows if she's going to be accepted by the Trump party? We don't know. Or I guess in 2028 you could also have maybe Christy Noem will run, the governor of South Dakota. You'll get one of your heroes in there. I just think it's funny seeing a UN ambassador act like they were Secretary of State. I'm good with Tulsi. Well, I tell you, I can't trust her. Like she went from supposedly Bernie's successor, right? The progressive, I'm for single payer, I'm for free college. Now she's anti-pronoun, and it's weird sitting up on Fox News every day. That's crazy. That's really insane. I'm leaving the Democratic Party. And then it's like you might as well be a Republican. All you do is talk to them and endorse them and campaign for them. Like I remember they had a write-in vote for Sanders during the 2016 cycle with Tulsi as the running mate. I usually would be very happy about Sanders doing successful, but in retrospect, I'm glad that didn't work out because she went full snake, man. No, seriously, like you know that the progressive movement is basically damn near leaderless, right? Like Sanders he comes out and says something here or there, but like the squad, for example, nobody looks to them and says, "Oh yes, this is our heir apparent. In 4 years, this person will run for." Not a single one of them. And even the squad adjacent people like Rokanda, they're not ready. So the progressives are really leaderless. The only one that anyone knows is Sanders, and he's like, "I'm done." And maybe people know Warren a little bit, but she's got the same problem that Tulsi has, where you just can't trust her. Like that's why she earned the nickname of Snake Warren. I'm serious. Like the progressives are leaderless. The only person anyone's familiar with is Sanders, and he's kind of like receding into the background. He doesn't really come out and speak that forcefully as he used to. Um, and the only other one that has like slight higher than normal name recognition, more like the squats. I'm not even kidding, man. Like I thought we were gonna really, what I'm talking about, right? Like there's no singular figure that everyone rallies behind and like the general public is familiar with, because Sanders has been fairly well, like yeah, the presidential campaigns boosted his name recognition, but he's been fairly well known since 2011 when he gave that 8-hour speech during the budget. It was 2010, I rather, during the budget reconciliation, or this big giant address, right? Um, he's walking. Oh my God, stop! You say that about everybody. Um, none. What do even look? I'm gonna give you an example. When FDR was president, you knew who the leader of the Democratic Party was. When Truman was president, you knew who the leader of the Democratic Party was. Same thing with Kennedy. Same thing with Johnson. Probably up until like that last year when he started getting opposed by, Eugene McCarthy and Robert Kennedy. But after that, it's really just kind of been, you know, because like look at I mean, look at Carter, right? He's there 4 years, and then he just kind of goes back and does his own thing. Uh, and for like 12 years, there's really not like besides Ted Kennedy was probably the closest thing they had to a leader, like during the Reagan and Bush era. And after that, you have Clinton, right? But that's kind of whatever. And then for Bush, it's really nobody again. And I mean, you get what I'm saying. They go large swap. I know they have congressional leaders, but I mean, come on, most of them aren't worth the piss. So it's you really think anybody's gonna look back at the Trump or Bush era and be like, Pelosi stood strong in the fit. No, no, not a soul. Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer. Nobody cares. Those are two senators that in 50 years no one will be talking about. You think I'm kidding, man? In 50 years, no one will be talking about Chuck Schumer or Harry Reid or Dick Durbin or any of the rest of them. They don't matter. They haven't done anything. Just throwing crumbs to the people. They don't have a real ideology. I'm serious. I know, I know what I'm talking about when I say historically significant senators. Ted Kennedy was a historically significant senator. John McCain was a historically significant senator. If you want to stretch even further back, Barry Goldwater and Mike Mansfield were important. But this crop now, they don't do anything. Dude, Schumer just wanted to be the longest senator longest serving senator from New York. That was his goal, his mission. Um, I think he's probably going to retire after another term. I don't. That's just my prediction. He'll probably stop at 6, hopefully. They absolutely enrich themselves. I mean, come on. They use that office for more and more money. Dude, I remember when they were trying to say that AOC was going to primary Schumer. Like, get out of my face. That woman is too afraid to do anything that correct. Like, that's why she endorsed Kumo for governor, the touchy feely governor, right? They're not primarying anybody. They're all sitting around scared, afraid. Oh my God, what is he gonna do to me if I don't support him? I mean, we come on. Oh man. But yeah, we as a group are leaderless. Like the Republicans, whether you like them or not, Trump is their leader. And it's been that way since 2015. Anyone that crosses him gets thumped, taken out. Very few you have to be a really strong person in wherever state you live in to be able to dodge the Trump bandwagon of revenge. Like I remember he targeted Murkowski. She stomped that challenger of his. They didn't make a dent. But Democrats, they are leaderless. That's why they lose winnable elections in Texas and Louisiana and what used to be Florida because they don't have a leader. They don't have any people going out campaigning trying to make sure they expand their majority in the Senate. They don't care. As long as they collect their little check from their job and all their little paid speaking fees, they don't care if the party gets burnt to the crisp. Spineless too. Yeah, they don't. They're not. They don't. They're afraid. I had this one relative. They tried to say the reason that in Obama's post presidency he hasn't said much is because he's worried about an investigation turning up. So it's like, no, 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 no. The real reason he doesn't say anything is because he doesn't care. He got his 8 years. He passed a little bit of stuff, so he thinks he was a great president. So he gets to go back and basically spend the rest of his life coasting off of the 8 years that he was in the White House from now until his passing in probably 30 or 40 years. So That's the actual reason. Yeah, that's not like, but that was what's funny to me. Like he's probably worse. Like he doesn't care. Dude, if Obama was this big free speech loving, citizen protecting wielder of freedoms, you'd see him on the, he'd be the first one to have endorsed Sanders for president and said, hey, we need to get single payer and we need to stop the for-profit healthcare industry from costing so much and making it unaffordable. I mean, he would have been the first person to come out for something like that. And to come out and say, hey, you guys are spending too much money on Ukraine and Israel and all these other foreign countries instead of helping your people. He would, dude, like he has a platform that 99% of celebrities and other politicians can only dream of having. He could go out in a damn in his pajamas and like record a video and it would have 1 million views in like less than a day. Like the scope of his message far exceeds anything I or any or even like most politicians could put out, but he doesn't care. The rest of his life is just going to be paid speeches, and he puts out his little stupid favorite books and music every year, and he'll give like an endorsement here or there, but that man is totally and completely and utterly useless. Like to any, if you thought that was a leader, I have bad news for you. I have a bridge to sell you. I find that hilarious. Like people really sat there and thought that was somebody they're gonna be able to look up to. Like, give me a break. Ugh. He does movies now. Well, see, that's my thing. It's like, could you imagine if you passed, or if you were a Democrat, right, and you passed a right wing healthcare bill? You're really going to spend the rest of like your entire retirement making movies and putting out book recommendations and uh sitting on your property not saying anything for 300 something days out of a 365-day year? Like that's going to be the rest of your life? Like seriously, this man has been out of office for 6 years and he hasn't done anything. Even the Clintons did their little stupid Clinton Foundation, which was mostly a way to enrich themselves with these foreign countries. But like, even they made something that looked like, yeah, just useless. God, I'm astonished because the platform that he has, I would kill to have it. I would absolutely love to be able to do a video and people don't even know what you're talking about, and they just all start flowing in. That's exactly what he could do. Okay, at your taxes and shut up. Pay. Dude, I'm embarrassed that was that's the conduct of a modern president, like a modern president in an era of former presidents doing things that actually matter or at the very least have some consequence. This one just sits around. He will never do anything. Like I guarantee you, mark my words, in 2027, which will be the 10th anniversary of him leaving the White House, you will notice that the only thing you could think he did, oh, don't worry, it's coming. You might get that before FDR Part 1, depending on my mood. But it just drives me crazy that this is the like understand a lot of people make fun of Biden for being old, right? And they make fun of Clinton for the whole like affair stuff. And Carter gets made fun of or considered a bad president for only having one term. Obama's the first one with like net a positive approval rating really since Kennedy, and he doesn't do anything with it. Like he is just a waste. Oh, God bless Carter, absolutely. Imagine how he feels knowing that there is nothing he can do to save us. Well, probably very bad, but I mean, it's like he did his part. You can't expect one like this isn't in real life the way it's supposed to work is there's a generation of people that do good things, then they get replaced by the next generation who also does good things. Um he has nothing bad to feel about because he did what he was supposed to do time and time again. And even beyond that, it's not Biden's age that concerns me, it's his disdain for the American people. But he's the healer in chief. He has so much empathy. God, that's your leader. I'm just saying it burdens Carter. You can see it on his face. Well, like I said, the Democrats just they're not a strong party. They are very weak. They're extremely like sealed in, right? And they don't really stand for anything. Wars, 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 wars. Oh yeah, they stand for that. They stand for defense contractors and big pharma and that those are their real constituents. We're just a tool in the power keg. And it drives me crazy that's the leadership. I'm not even kidding. Like when you look at the modern Democrats, like who among them is just a very forceful, strong figure that is like what their positions are. They take a stand on issues. Because even when you look at Harris, back when she was in the Senate, she was like a chameleon where she had these votes that were really in line with somebody like Sanders. But then when she was Attorney General of California, she was, putting kids and parents in jail for truancy and just stuff that was not consistent, like to where you really don't know what she is, what she believes in. Um, we don't have to talk about Booker or Gillibrand, who are basically Obama and Hillary light. Uh, I mean, these people just they don't they yeah. And remember, dude, these are supposed to be the future leader. Like, understand, Schumer is not going to be there in 30 years, but Booker and Gillibrand and I mean, even to some like these are people who are going to, for the foreseeable future, be in charge, so to speak, of the Democratic Party. And they really don't stand for anything. They're just kind of there. They're, whatever. Generic Democrat number one, generic Democrat number two. They stand for Ukraine. That seems to be everybody at this point. Very scary thought. This is why the Democrats are going to keep losing elections. They don't have strong leadership. The closest thing they've come to making a strong leader in the like pretty much since, like, really it's this. Obama was good at getting himself elected, but not at like helping his party. That's why they, had the historic midterm losses of 2010, 2014. And he's not a good leader because right after he got the White House, he just vanished, right? Just disappeared at a time where his party was in ruins, right? Uh, and then with Sanders, it's like here's this man who, to his credit, shifts the party leftward through these two presidential campaigns. The second one was a big disappointment, but we don't have to get into that. And even though he's still in the Senate, he barely really says anything, tries to get much attention. He's he's just too cozy with Biden at this point. Like, it's whatever to him. We are doomed. You get my point, right? That like the few times they've been able to get a charismatic figure who kind of embodies the viewpoints of one side of the party or like a unifying figure to some degree, that person generally disappears after a few years, or even if they're still around, they're not doing anything to where you would even remember, like, oh yeah, that's the person, that's the leader. That's why I keep asking you, who after Sanders will lead the progressive movement? Who in Congress today, out of all those different House members and out of that group of senators, who's going to be his successor? Who's going to uh rally people behind single payer healthcare and free college and ending wars and climate change? Like who? Which one of them? I'd love to know. No leader. Do you think if a single Democrat in the House possessed the leadership qualities that Sanders did back in his heyday, that they would willingly vote for a guy as speaker from their party that actively disagrees with them on most of their major policy proposals? You probably don't know this, but Sanders considered primarying Obama in 2012. Harry Reid had to talk him off a cliff. He said, "Hey man, you're going to mess up his. You're going to turn this into a repeat of 1980 with Carter and Kennedy." Well, you understand my point that they don't have anyone that they can rally behind at all. Like for example, if I was a member of the House, even if I'm more left wing than most members, I still would want to see the Democratic Party extend. You still want to see them compete in states like Arkansas and Kentucky, which they actually are doing better in Kentucky to their credit. But like places like Louisiana, they should be winning over there. Louisiana is not Alabama where it's like 60-30. It's like 50-40. No, they drive me crazy because it's just there's so much that they could be doing that they don't. I mean, dude, imagine like having a political party where their views are alienating of most people. Most people support gay marriage, most people support reproductive rights. And somehow the party that's opposed to this stuff at one point in recent history had most of the governorships. They've had majorities in the House and Senate. And you sit there and you're like, how is it that this party, with viewpoints that are not in agreement with most Americans, is able to somehow get most seats in Congress? Like, what is that? But then you remember the Democrats, the party of the people, supposedly. They don't stand for anything. And even a few things that are on their issue platform, they don't campaign for. Like Roe v. Wade getting overturned was bad, but for the Democrats, it was great because they get to fundraise off of their own weakness and the fact that people are desperate and hoping that they'll do something if they get enough power. Why is America still wrangling reproductive rights in 2023? Because of the religious right, man. They're looking for any way they can to ban that stuff. That's why they have that 6-week ban, which is basically a full-on ban because it's been statistically proven that most women don't know they're pregnant during the first 6 weeks. It is ridiculous because it's like, look at all the people that are alive that don't have a job, they can't afford their house. I mean, and it's like this is what lawmakers choose to spend their time ranting and raving about and making such a big deal over because somebody not wanting to have a baby that they probably can't even afford to take care of anyway. That's the big central issue of the day. Not the fact that 63% of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck, or it was like 70 something percent couldn't afford $1,000 emergency. Like it's nuts, man. It's nuts. Care about the hypothetical, but not the real. Yeah. And once they have these kids, people get abandoned. Like they don't. It's stupid, man. It's all dumb. Trying to force somebody to have a kid they don't want has never led to anything good. They don't care about the people. No, they don't. It's just like when they tried to privatize education, they're getting paid by those Catholic schools. Walmart mentality. I'm just saying you can find a method, like a rationale to their madness very easily if you just think about it. You're like, wait, why do they want this so badly? Oh, that's why. Mm, it's all about money, man. That's one of the reasons why I don't even take you seriously anymore because you'll sit here and talk trash about conservatives, but if Noam or Haley or one of them decides to run in 2028, you'll be the first one to take a big check to be their campaign manager. So we can't even trust you. Let me see what all is here. And have the nerve to complain about the Chinese. Yeah, talk about banning TikTok. Why don't they ban poverty? Ban that. Ban people sleeping in their cars and uh live on the sidewalk and applying for 100 jobs and hearing nothing back. Ban that. Hey Jem, is it true that your favorite movie this year was Indiana Jones 5? And be honest with me, is that true? I still can't believe they spent 300 million on that. That's crazy. No. I'm telling you, this year will go down in history for being the year of the blockbuster flop. I'm serious. Like all these different superhero movies and whatever, like they all have been doing very bad this year. Whether you're talking about Blue Beetle or Aquaman 2 or the Marvels or what's the other one? Ant-Man 3, like it's bad. Wait, you said that I was woke crap because I wanted people to have health care? I can't believe you. What a sick thing. That'd be funny if I did a documentary on a woman and you were like, "This is woke." Like what? Only men can have hours long videos made about them. Yeah, I thought the fourth one was the one that people said was bad, and oh my god, it ruins the other three. And then like you make another one on top of that. That's what I thought was weird. Like nobody that I know wanted a fifth Indiana Jones. Like seriously, like when you know people that they like the first three, they tolerate the fourth one, don't like the fourth one, whatever. And they talk about how the fourth one was so bad. Why do we get another one? It was unnecessary. Why make one on top of that? That's how you know Disney just they were just pimping out these franchises, man. Anything they could do to to squeeze some extra pennies together, they did it. I'm still laughing at you getting South and North Carolina mixed up, just because like for me they're night and day different. And like I know like you don't have the same familial ties or whatever. It's just that South Carolina's so close to me in terms of like knowing people from there and the various like figures that come to mind easily, and then North Carolina's just more distant, even if they're right next to each other. The Crystal Skull was awful. You're just a hater. You can't appreciate these great films that Disney is putting out for you. That are totally not blatant cash. I was going to say crap grabs, cash grabs to see how much more money they can make off of these IPs before the actors pass away. She had you flustered. I'm just saying that state is those two are very distinct in my mind because of like personal stuff. I think that might be a big part of the reason why for me it's so like glaringly obvious which is which. So I'm not trying to blame you or insult you. I'm just explaining that for me they're really different. I hate typing. It's all about the cash. Oh yeah, that's the main thing but what's funny is the cash is drying up. Like back in 2000, was that 15? They put out The Force Awakens. It made $1 billion. Everybody was excited for a new Star Wars movie after 7 years or 8 years, however long it had been. Um, the next one, Last Jedi, came out and it didn't do as good. And then 2 years later, Rise of Skywalker came out and it did even worse. So, because of the continuing waning interest on these IPs, Disney really needs to get its act together and stop putting out all this stuff. And I think that's part of the reason why next year they only have one superhero movie because they know that they've been losing a lot of money from putting out half-finished crap that nobody wants or stuff that people just don't want altogether. That's why Ant-Man 3 is it's the funniest movie to watch because oh yeah, people and that's another thing. There are so many blockbusters that come out all year long, right? That if you were to try and go and see them and get your popcorn, go with somebody else, you're talking to spending probably $300, $400 at just to go see a bunch of movies. Like eight or nine films. That's like $300, $400 with food included. And if you go with somebody else, no, it just costs too much. It's very expensive. I only went to see two movies this whole year because it just costs too much. So who the hell can afford this? Look, in your heart, I'm telling the truth. It just costs too much. They want all this damn money just to go sit in the theater and watch something one time, and then if you want to own it, you have to pay for it again. So it's like, forget it. You can laugh at me, but I'm tired of all these coins. I saw you. I saw zero in the theater. Yeah, man, there was a movie I went to last year where I'm not even kidding. I walked in the theater, it was empty. And then when the film like came on, it was like 6 or 7 other people in the whole theater with me. Like it really wasn't that much at all. And I'll tell you, man, movie theaters are and just these films are people are not excited. I wait for it to come on digital. Yeah, I'm getting like that too. If it's something I'm really excited for, which is very rare nowadays, then I'll go and watch it in theaters. But 99% of this sludge that gets popped out, I let it come and go. A dying breed. I'm not even kidding, man. I wouldn't waste my time with a lot of these films. Like they're not exciting. They're doing the same things over and over again. Um, It's just nothing I would really think too much of getting involved with. I think it's a big mistake. You ever believe after this stream I am going to sleep? Knowing my luck, somebody will come and try and mess with me while I'm attempting to go back. I already know that's just how the way this stuff goes. That's in their nature to do that. I just think it's really sad that there's so many films that are coming out, and because there's so many of them and it costs so much to go, they're all like canceling each other out. Like people are very picky, and they have the right to be. But they're really doing a disservice to themselves that these like different studios and by making this sludge that nobody's excited for, like they're going to and making it cost so much. Like, dude, all these movies are costing 200 million plus to make. Indiana Jones 5 cost 300, excuse me, 300 million to make. And then they wonder why they're not turning a profit. I can't believe it. Shouldn't be a surprise. I'm just laughing at Jem. Jem thinks that I don't know that he goes to theater every day and checks out these movies. Somebody made a movie review. They said you have to give up half your pay for this month to even go to the theater at this point. So hey, I don't think they're wrong. Like the cost of this stuff has ballooned. No, the funniest one to watch in retrospect is Ant-Man 3 because that was supposed to be introduction of their new big evil villain that was going to be around for several years, and then his actor got stupid and beat up his whatever. So like now they're just like, okay, forget that. That didn't happen. Well, look, you said the same thing about getting a Nikki Haley hat, and then there's one on being mailed to you as we speak. So it seems like every time you pass, it comes right back to you. So it's like when you say I'll pass, it's not permanent, it's just temporary. I don't even trust you anymore. Why would he even bother with her? No, you know what? He did it. We know he did because they have it like text messages and video or whatever. I'm just saying he's really stupid because to get propped up as the main like villain or one of the bigger starring roles in two blockbusters this year, Creed 3 and Ant-Man 3, and to just blow up your career by getting into a fist fight with or at least severely damage it by doing what he did, I just think is really stupid. Dude, if I was in some major blockbuster franchise and they were going to keep me around for several years, right? There is no way I would do anything that could jeopardize that. That is literally you throwing away mountains and mountains of money. Like, what a complete buffoon. No, I'm saying, like, that's how you know a lot of these actors, man, they start getting egotistical. Like, they start thinking they're untouchable. Oh, you can't get rid of me. I'm playing your lead villain. Yeah, they got rid of him. Right after that verdict was reached, Disney or Marvel or whatever, they came out and said, "Hey, it's over." Well, he was an even bigger nut for throwing away his career like that, man. Like, you think if Jim was running a movie studio and he's "I'm to make you the star for the next several films," I would be like, "Oh yeah, let me go and get myself in some trouble that's going to compromise his company and make them want to get rid of me. Not for my performance being bad, but over this unrelated stuff with this person that I could just simply not talk to if being around them causes me to act this way. It's really dumb. And like I don't care what you say to defend him in your heart, you know it's all true. You better you gone. Bye bye. Dude, he lost himself so much money. Like, God, what an idiot. What a complete buffoon. Plus, he may do jail time. I didn't say you were defending him. I'm just marveling at how somebody can destroy their whole life for like stupid stuff, for stuff that's completely avoidable. For a silly girl. Well, that's what's so tragic to me. Like, because remember I told you with that romance stuff, it's always like poison, right? If he wasn't trying to date this woman or be with this woman, then there's a good chance none of this would have happened, and Marvel could have continued with him as their new lead villain. But he wanted to sit there and get involved with somebody and put his hands on them. So it's hard to feel sorry. It really is. It's hard. It's hard to sit there and go, oh man, what a poor guy. No, they threw money at him that I will never even dream of making. Like that's nuts. I'm not even kidding. I almost want to become like a joke actor, like just show up at auditions with like fully expecting to just not get hired, just see how many you can go to and before and like if something happens, it'll just be like this big miracle. First of all, why did he only have one? Look, I know you're a big superstar with women that has like seven of them around your arm all day long, but not some of us would rather just be intimate with one person. So you can insult me, you can make fun of me, but I'm just telling the truth. Some of us don't want to have a whole harem. Some of us would like to go home to one person as opposed to 100 people. He should have been dating multiple women. If one gets him angry, he just goes to the next. Oh, trust me, I'm sure he'll be very angry if he ends up getting behind bars over this woman, which is still a possibility. Never put your eggs in one basket. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not interested in dating multiple women at the same time. Like I would always just I've talked to multiple women at once, yeah, but that's not the same as dating. Just you speak to several of them to see which one might actually like you, and then if none of them like you, then you just go, okay, well, whatever, and either start again or throw in the towel, which is exactly what I ended up doing with them because it just seemed like nothing was improving. I don't even trust you after what you said. You're always giving that bad info. You won't even tell me where I'm supposed to mail the Haley hat. Your next president, after she somehow pulls off a miracle and wins New Hampshire. Stars got that get that privilege, not us. It's safer. No, dude. Male stars might get that privilege, but regular chicks do that all the time. I'm serious. Some of them will sit there talking to 15, 30 guys at once. Tired of these harems, man. You think I'm playing? I'm tired of harems. I'm tired of, oh, here's this woman. You think she's nice? Well, have to speak to her and hope she notices you over the other 15 guys or 30 or however many. Like it's bad. Trump is going to to rip her to pieces on the last debate. Will he actually go to last debate? I hope so, because he's been ducking and dodging. Ohio representative praises governor's veto. It's a slow news day. Oh, nothing's happening except CNN debate in New Hampshire. Yeah, these have been some really slow days for news. I've noticed that. I don't know, man. The fact that he's dodged the first four and now the field is like so bare bones is starting to make me kind of think he's probably going to need to be just completely overwhelmed electorally to why would he debate the 1%? Yeah, but like why would he debate like he still could say, "Oh, I'm 30 points ahead, 20 points ahead, I don't care." Let her run her mouth. I'm saying like him debating her, you could argue makes no difference because he's already in the lead. So that's why I said I don't. You're claiming he'll rip her, but I think he might just sit on X for some months, and just let whatever the results are roll in. Which is really, like I said before, I'm so embarrassed for the voters of that party. Like because you were president before, you get to just not go to any of the debates. You get to just expect to be voted in and nominated, and that's crazy, man. That's really nuts. Man, I know you're looking forward to that Trump documentary. I know that. You have been more excited for something ever. My friend was talking about look at the competition, see how many other people are making. It's like, dude, no other person that is on this space makes documentaries. Even the bigger channels don't do it. And they have way more resources than me. They don't give a damn. They just expect people to know things. Like it's really unfortunate. The closest I've seen to something like what I'm doing is probably like PragerU's little and their videos aren't even like somebody having books and using accredited sources. So I just thought that was funny. He has a lot of supporters. The polling is in his favor. That's why I said I don't think he's going to debate. I think he'll find a way to dodge this one too. I mean, look, polls are cute, but I don't know if he doesn't campaign that much, and if he doesn't, I don't think New Hampshire is an outlier. I think it's do you stream on X? Of course not. I don't use that stupid site. I thought you wanted me to go to Truth Social. I thought you want me to head over there. No, you said Truth Social. You said go over there with Trump and put up your little video message. Isn't that site that wanted 999 a month just to be on there? Look, Jam, I don't have that kind of money. I'm sorry. Truth Social is Trump's site. The one he went to after he got banned on Twitter, and then even when he got brought back, he still was like, I'm not even gonna use the site anymore." I hope you're not messing with me. If folks like watching you are saying they like watching you are saying they give you money, oh, I don't follow Trump. Really? Are you serious? You don't have all his books displayed on the right by your bedside? Your favorite book isn't Art of the Deal? A book that he probably didn't even write, but I digress. That's shocking to me. Just general news about him. I'm still marveling at him getting kicked off the ballot in 2 states. I didn't see the second one coming at all. That's gonna just make his followers even more angry. I'm trying to get your content out there and get you a few bucks. Well, I appreciate it. I have noticed the documentaries parts have been, all etching toward 2000. So no, I still I wanted to put out part one of the other one this like during these next few days, but I just was so tired, man. Again, most of the script is written. I at this point probably just want to go over it a little bit more. Like I put it this way, when I go and like take a nap after this or go to sleep, whatever, and I wake up, I'll probably be energetic enough to try and I forward to many of my friends. What, your ex-wives? Art takes time. Well, yeah, because I told you the process. You got to read the book, mostly put stuff in your own words. Sometimes I quote things, but I mostly put my own words. Then you have to edit, or rather record it, then edit it, and then finally. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is not. I don't just snap my fingers and there you go. The interaction is where the cash is in live streams. Yeah, I'm just again, man, I try to come on here consistently, do this twice a week. Um Anything else is just kind of whatever. On Meet Me, all they talk about is relationships, need some political stuff on there. Well, do you want to talk about relationships? about your ex-wife and that one woman that took you for all your coins? Are you seeking to have a conversation on those subjects? Because we can if you want. I'm just saying. I'm trying to think if there's any governor I would do one of like a documentary on. I'm really thinking about it because it would. I definitely have no interest in doing one on DeSantis. Um, a person who was governor but wasn't like president or any, just like just someone who's mainly known for being a governor. Hmm. Probably Wallace. Nah, Christie has nowhere near the historical significance of Wallace. Wallace ran for president 4 times, and despite not winning, was one of the few third-party candidates to actually win multiple states. Uh, in fact, where did I put that? Do I still have that book over there, or did I move it? I probably moved it. So it would probably be him. Well, that's why I visited his grave when I went to Alabama because I maintain he is still the most important political figure to come out of that state. No, those are my brothers. Dude, I only have I literally I have 2 pairs of shoes. One of them is right here and the other one is over there. That's it. You would never see me stacking any shoe boxes ever. That's something that would entirely be a creation of him or some other relative. I couldn't care less. I already explained to you before. It has been a hard year financially for me. Uh, so if you see some clothing or whatever in the background, 9 times out of 10, it's somebody else. All that stuff is a joke to me anyway. I'm serious. I don't. People try to make you feel bad for buying a book. Like that's really just that's like the full extent of where my stuff would even go to. God, it's crazy, man. Like people are struggling so much, but they can get all these clothes. It's interesting. Oh, those kids are pretty expensive too. Well, that's why I said it's all just a big joke. Everybody wants to try and like stick their hand out for something from you, but then they can afford all this other trash. Like, that's why I told you we live in the twilight zone. Like, if I was really afraid of my house collapsing on me from the cost of it, I you wouldn't see me worried about one shred of new clothing at all. Person gonna try to make me feel bad for having a shirt that was bleached and still wearing. It's like, yeah, I'm not about to buy a whole other shirt just because this one got has it was blue and now it looks purplish or has pieces of purple. Like I don't give a. So I said, man, they can take the dumbest stuff and make it a big deal. It's incredible. In fact, you really thought those were my shoes, man? Are you kidding? I'm kidding. I haven't bought a pair of shoes in over a year. I'm probably gonna end up redoing the order of the documentaries because it was supposed to be LBJ, then FDR, then Carter, then Bush. But I might swap out Bush with Nixon. I'm changing to a mono clothing in the new year. What if I want you to change? I want you to stay one way. Gray tee and jeans every day. Yeah, I have a gray shirt. I don't know where I put it though. No, I'm trying as hard as I can to make this stuff. I tell you, man. I have all types of Google Docs opened and oh, it's it can be daunting, I tell you that. When you're writing stuff and trying to finish this video before the tomorrow. Oh man. But no, I do like that we're at least doing these. Like they're being done in pieces, but it's still progress. And even though I know the only one you actually want me to do is Reagan, you'll have to hold off on that for a while. Finishing Johnson is the priority. Not as much as like just starting some of the other ones, but it's definitely the one that I know more than any of the other ones will get finished because I picked him to do the series on because I felt like out of all of the modern presidents, like the ones after Roosevelt, he was the most forgotten in the general sense of like, here's this man who passed over 200 laws in 6 years. And I know like people who went to college that are my age and older who have never heard of LBJ, and it drove me nuts. It's like, how does one of the most important presidents ever just get completely glossed over? I mean, they have some familiarity with Kennedy because they know about the assassination, but like, you have no idea who the man who succeeded him was. Like, just complete ignorance, man. Just embarrassing. And remember, these aren't people that grew up in the woods. You have one guy who's a college graduate who never heard of him. Like, what? Just nuts. Seriously, man, that stuff embarrasses me. Like, I feel ashamed. Well, that's why he was the one I decided to initially make, you know, very dumb. Dude, I'm not even kidding. One of them doesn't even know Carter, who's alive, last I checked. I mean, it's embarrassing, man. It's really embarrassing. People just are so disgraceful. It's not even funny. I got drive to hardware store. No more typing, but I'm listening in. LOL. Well, that's fine. I'm just saying that that was the impetus for me wanting to do a documentary on him because I said all this important stuff that happened and like it's been written about too, and they have no clue. They're just all ignorant. Oh, I'll do a stream for New Year's, yeah, because it's on Monday. So you don't have to say Happy New Year's yet. You will see me again right at the start of it. But it was just driving me nuts because it's like all these people they have some familiarity with Medicare, Medicaid, the 911 number, food stamps, right? The Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act. They know all this stuff of like they've heard of it, but then the person who signed it into law, they just have no idea. Like, what? Typical Americans. But that shows you that the American educational system is a failure if somebody can get through preschool and not know who Johnson is, middle school and not know who Johnson is, high school and not know who Johnson is, college and not know because it's such he's such a basic yet very significant part of 20th century American history that to not know who he is, it just feels like you're a complete idiot. I'm serious, man. I've never been more embarrassed than knowing that there are grown adults, not little kids, grown adults who don't know who one of the most important politicians of the 20th century is. That drives me insane. Like if they don't know Hubert Humphrey, even though I really like him, think he's very important, whatever. Um, they don't know Goldwater, whatever, Mansfield. Uh, okay, I can live with it, but they don't like it drives me crazy because these people are going to get on Medicare and Medicaid and they're going to have no idea who signed that in the law. Well, they're dumb for that one too. Muhammad Ali, even I'm not even like a boxing fan. I do like the Rocky films, but whatever. But he's still an important part of history for his association with the Nation of Islam during the 60s with Malcolm X. So they know who Zelensky is, though. Zelensky is contemporary. Same thing with Putin. Same thing with Netanyahu. In 50 years, I wonder if anyone will talk about Zelensky. I'm very curious about that. Like he's timely right now, but do you think in like an extended period of time, people will still be speaking about this man? I don't think so. Oh man, it's just so embarrassing. Like grown adults and basic historical figures do not mix. That's why I gave you the example of the senators. The only senators that are in office now that people might still talk about in a few decades, half a century, are Sanders, McConnell, um, maybe Collins and Murkowski and Manchin because those are like the swing votes or whatever that people do mention when they're like, "Oh, this bill barely passed," but that's pretty much it. How many members of the House will anyone talk about in 50 years that are serving now? Pelosi, yeah, because it was the first woman speaker, but that's it. Well, McCain's not currently in office. He passed. No, there's a lot of like old school style Republicans I do like. Like Bush 41, Bob Dole. Um, Let me think. I mentioned before I am fond of Nixon because he had the EPA. Uh, I know you'll get mad and get ready to fight me, but I do appreciate the environmental laws. Dude, no one is talking about Cotton. Actually, is really interesting in the sense that he's like this extremely generic pro-war Republican that's like very tall and like a lot of donors thought he was going to be the new guy after Rubio in 2016. Like so they were going to save Cotton for 2020, 2024, and he still hasn't gotten his shot. But rest assured, if one more of these like younger type senators runs for president that's a guy, it'll be that one. I think he would get trounced by I mean even somebody like Trump Jr. like has a better chance. But no, nobody talk. The only senator from Arkansas anybody will ever talk about probably is Fulbright, because of the Fulbright program, like that, and him being a mentor to Bill Clinton. That's it. I don't know if you remember Fulbright, but he was like really a big deal during the Vietnam War, like with so that's the only one from Arkansas that I can say, yeah, he was in office decades and decades ago, and people still talk about him. Well, it's just like Claiborne Pell from was that Rhode Island with the Pell Grants? Like that alone will make him famous and remembered. Rubio talk about going downhill. Oh, that's funny, man. He went from a possible running mate for Romney to kind of like, the rising star. I'm going to run for president, then getting completely trounced in his home state by Trump, and then kind of like basically taking a bat. Like at least with Cruz, Cruz is an attention word that starts with W. So what he likes to do is go around and like get on TV over and over, and he has his own podcast. Which, how are you a United States senator, but you have time to do a podcast? That shows these people don't actually have jobs. But Cruz is, he's at least been able to still kind of be relevant a little bit during the Trump era, even if all he does is just run his mouth and support Trump incessantly, the man that insulted his wife and dad in ways that I would never like. You would like if somebody came forward and said your dad was friends with the person that is believed to have assassinated an American president, you would never see me endorse that person. That would be it. They better have some strong evidence to get me on their side on that one. But yeah, the only senator from Arkansas that is of historical significance, I would say, is Fulbright. Um, I actually have a biography of him. I just haven't gotten around to reading it or using it for anything. Uh, in terms of what's another state that has some senators that matter? I already brought up the ones from North Carolina. I already brought up the ones from South Carolina. Although I didn't bring up Fritz Holing, that was the other longtime South Carolina senator that was a Democrat. Him and Thurman had like the longest record of a Senate duo, where it was like 36 years of those two, which gave South Carolina more clout than a state of its size probably would regularly have of it, just because how long the seniority of the two people represented in the Senate. Mm. Nah, Rubio is on his. I think he's done. I think he's gonna just, if he runs for president again, it will be like a nostalgia campaign. Like, hey, remember that time I ran in 2016 before everybody got trounced by Trump? And then he'll probably get crushed by Cruz and then just be in the Senate for the rest of his life. I think that'll happen because I think Cruz is the more ambitious of the two, and certainly the more right leaning of the two. Which is why he was able to perform better than Rubio, even though Rubio was preferred by the establishment. So I think it's over for him. He just got reelected to a third term in the Senate. I think he'll stay there for another 3 or 4 if he doesn't win the presidential election. I'm still waiting for Jem to tell me who the current leader of the Democratic Party is. I'd love for him. I'd love to know. Please explain to me who that is. I have no idea. I'm not even trying to be facetious or funny. I really have no clue who the leader is, because it seems like every time you turn around, the people that you think are the leader keep finding ways to like not actually be leaders, to just kind of disappear and not really be around that much. So I'd love for you to tell me who's the leader. Oh man. I really hope that I don't have anything else I have to any like giant expense to pay for like the next few months so I can go to Texas. George Norris. Dude, they're done. Like they're still able to win some elections because the Republicans have atrocious views, but as far as like ever being a party that has 60 Senate seats, that's it. And the crazy part is like they got Arizona to flip, and yet now they can't even win Florida. What an embarrassment, man. That was the best part of 2020 cycle when McCain's widow, Cindy, endorsed Biden and he won the state like narrowly. Trump just kept running his mouth about McCain. Should have just stopped talking about him, but it came back to bite him. Same thing with Georgia. Like I still can't believe Trump lost Georgia. Georgia's not as red as a lot of the rest of the South, but it is the South. God, Georgia's the same state that had Jimmy Carter's grandson up for governor and gave him the boot. They said we don't care that your granddaddy was governor and he was no. Oh well, you're a Democrat. And then you had Stacey Abrams. I don't even want to talk about that. That's crazy. That lady tried over and over again. Oh, it's so sad, man. When a Secretary of State can just like control their own election, and then you're supposed to agree with the results. Like, oh yeah, this totally isn't rigged, or yeah, absolutely. Well, Jim, do you have any other things left to say? Because I feel like I've gone, almost my usual time. I feel like I've given you a full day's worth of entertainment. So I know you were driving, but let me know if you have anything else you want to contribute before I wrap this up. Like I said, I'll try to put out part one at some point this week. I'm not making any promises. I'm just gonna because I my main thing is like the job. I'm over there very often, so anytime there's like delays, it's usually because of that. Um, I think after FDR part one, I'll probably go for Johnson part five or Carter part one of those two. But after that, I'll just be ready to start these. I'm gonna try to limit my scope to probably four individuals as far as the documentary stuff is concerned. Because I think when we start thinking about this person, then that's when you get into the territory of like never finishing anything, and I try to avoid that. I do think it's really sad that I don't know, people just they don't really seem to care much about history, which is unfortunate because when you don't know the past, how can you know the future? Very often we can draw parallels between the past and now. Um, but it is what it is. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I just wish that people were more mindful of like, hey, this is important. This is a big deal, but they're not. So also, I'm trying to think like it's really crazy to just kind of imagine all this stuff that's happened and like how much of it people just don't know. Like it's really scary because it shows you that if like with most stuff, unless it's we talk about the mundane existence, but like just it's a matter of if this does not affect my day-to-day living situation, I don't care. They won't come out and say it that forcefully, but that's why I said it's a mundane existence, because when you get to a point where the only thing you care about is just surviving, right? Oh, I go to my job, I have enough money to pay my whatever. Like I don't know, I just feel like there's more to life than that. That's my opinion. I think when you get to that belief, you're dooming yourself. So just my opinion. Thanks for showing up, Jem. I will be back on Monday for the New Year's stream. This is the last stream of 2023, which whatever. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back in 2 days. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.